The twin moons of Veraxis Prime cast silver shadows across the ridge where Kayla maintained her watch. Her armor's sensors hummed softly, scanning the valley below for any sign of movement. The night air carried the sharp scent of crystalline vegetation and something else, the warm, musky smell of the predator cub sleeping against her plating. Rin, the boldest of the litter, had claimed the spot nearest to her chest piece, his massive paws twitching as he dreamed. The other 3 cubs formed a pile of striped fur and needle-sharp claws around her left leg. Kayla didn't dare move. 3 weeks ago, she would have shot them on sight. That was protocol. The Veraxis apex predators, what the science team called Tyrannus ferox, had killed 2 colonists and injured 5 others before the military presence was authorized. Kayla had volunteered for perimeter duty without hesitation. She was good at following orders, good at keeping people safe, but orders became complicated when a dying mother predator dragged herself into Kayla's camp with 4 cubs clinging to her back. The creature had been magnificent even in death. 12 feet of corded muscle, fangs like daggers, eyes that burned with an intelligence that made Kayla's trigger finger freeze. The predator had collapsed 10 meters from Kayla's position, made a sound that was somehow both a growl and a plea, and then gone still. The cubs had tumbled off their mother's body, mewing and confused, too young to understand that their world had just ended. Kayla had raised her rifle. 4 shots, 4 problems solved. She hadn't pulled the trigger. Instead, she'd done something monumentally stupid. She'd taken off her helmet and approached the cubs with her hands raised, speaking in the soft, nonsensical tone humans reserved for frightened animals. The cubs had scattered, hissing and spitting except for one. Rin had stood his ground, tiny body rigid with false bravado, baby fangs bared in what should have been a threatening display but only managed to be pathetic. "Easy," Kayla had whispered. "Easy, little one," Rin had charged her. All 12 kilograms of him had slammed into her shin guard with adorable futility. Then he'd started crying, high-pitched keening sounds that cut straight through Kayla's soldier's heart to something deeper, something human. She'd fed them field rations that night. By morning, all 4 cubs had accepted her as their new pack. Now, 3 weeks later, command still didn't know. Kayla filed her reports on schedule, maintained radio silence otherwise, and prayed that no one decided to do a surprise inspection. The cubs had tripled in size, their puppy-like awkwardness giving way to predatory grace. Rin especially showed promise. He was already learning to hunt the small rock lizards that scurried through the canyon, his movements becoming more precise each day. A sound crackled through Kayla's helmet comm. She tensed, carefully reaching up to activate the receiver without disturbing the sleeping cubs. "Sierra 7, this is command. Respond." Kayla's jaw tightened. "Sierra 7 responding. All quiet on the ridge. We're detecting unusual thermal signatures in your sector. Multiple heat sources clustered at your position. Explain." Her mind raced. The cub's body heat, the armor's sensors had been designed to detect threats, not baby predators using a soldier as a heated bed. Someone at command was actually paying attention for once. "Thermal vents, command," Kayla said smoothly. "The ridge is riddled with geothermal activity. Nothing unusual." A pause, too long. "Sierra 7, we're sending a patrol to verify." "ETA 40 minutes, the comm went dead." Kayla cursed under her breath. 40 minutes. She looked down at the cubs, at Rin's peaceful face pressed against her armor, at the trust in every relaxed line of their bodies. They'd begun to purr, a deep, rumbling vibration that the species only made when they felt completely safe. She could wake them, scare them off, let them scatter into the wilderness where they belonged, where they'd probably die within a week because they were too young, too dependent, too attached to the strange metal-skinned creature who had become their world, or she could face the consequences. Kayla had made many difficult choices in her military career. She'd followed orders that kept her awake at night. She'd lost friends and held positions when every instinct screamed at her to run. But this choice, this felt different. This felt like the first real choice she'd made in years. She adjusted her rifle across her lap and settled more comfortably against the rock face. Rin stirred, nuzzling closer to the warmth of her armor's power core. The smallest cub, Kayla had started calling her Mira, though she'd never admit it, squeaked softly in her sleep. "All right, you little monsters," Kayla murmured. "Looks like we're doing this the hard way." When the patrol arrived 38 minutes later, they found Sierra 7 exactly as reported. A lone soldier maintaining her watch, calm and professional. They also found 4 apex predator cubs who hissed and postured, but refused to leave the human side. Rin positioned himself in front of Kayla's boots, teeth bared, ready to defend his pack leader with everything his young body could muster. Lieutenant Chen, who led the patrol, stared for a long moment. Then he raised his comm to his lips. Command thermal signatures confirmed. Recommend designating Sierra 7's position as wildlife observation post. The Viraxis species may be more complex than initial assessments indicated. He looked at Kayla, one eyebrow raised. She kept her expression neutral, but gratitude flickered in her eyes. Besides, Chen continued into the comm, I'm not explaining to the brass why we shot cubs who think a human is their mother. As the patrol withdrew, Rin finally relaxed, trotting back to his favorite spot against Kayla's armor. The soldier resumed her watch, scanning the valley for threats while predator cubs slept soundly beside her, trusting in the strange, persistent courage of humans who chose compassion when protocol demanded otherwise. In the vast darkness of space, humanity had brought many things to the stars: weapons, technology, ambition. But perhaps the most dangerous thing they carried was this: the stubborn, irrational, beautiful refusal to let the innocent suffer when they had the power to protect them, even when the innocent had fangs.